I think Tetsuro Matsuzawa's work on chimpanzees and probably what's their visual working memory and how it's superior to humans, I think that's really cool. Because you don't often find research that shows that chimpanzees are better at something than humans. But I knew it had to be there, so that's neat. I guess for as long as I can remember, I've been really interested in animal behavior, especially primate behavior. And probably one of my first formative experiences about that was watching on TV. It was a woman scientist taking notes, watching a colony of primates, and I thought that was really cool, and I thought I could see myself doing that. So I pursued for a while just animal behavior work generally, and kind of got steered into evolutionary biology, which I thought was really interesting. And ended up getting a master's degree in that. And there I was looking at genetics of mammals and how animals traveled over space and conservation type of issues. And I found that pretty interesting, but I initially had gone in because I was interested in animal behavior. And I thought, well, I need to change course because I really want to focus on that. So after my master's degree, I looked for a place where I could observe apes. And I found a zoo in Chicago that offered internships. So I moved to Chicago and worked for free and watched gorillas and chimpanzees all day long. And that was really interesting. And I met a lot of people doing really interesting research, people who worked in the field in Africa, who worked at Jane Goodall's site. And I met Japanese scientists who had really innovative ape research areas with really neat touchscreen projects they were doing and showing special skills that chimpanzees had. And I thought, okay, looks like cognition is where this is headed. Everybody's really interested in how much chimpanzees can do, and in what ways are they different from humans. So then I started looking into PhD programs and tried to find somebody who was doing ape cognition, and found there weren't that many programs in the US. It's kind of a waning. So I found at Emory University, they have chimpanzees at the Yerkes Primate Center. So I looked at their program and applied, and it happened to be a neuroscience program. So I thought, well, that makes sense because I want to do cognition and behavior, and it all kind of ends up being at the brain level. So I went to Emory. At that point, I'd taken a lot of classes in neuroscience. I learned a lot about the brain. And since I had an evolutionary background, it made a lot of sense to look at how evolution and the brain were related. And there happened to be one researcher there, my PhD advisor, Todd Price, who combines the two, which is not very common, but you do find it. So that was a really good fit for me. And so what I ended up doing in his lab was looking at tissue and slicing brains and comparing chimpanzee brains with human brains and other primate brains. And so that's kind of how I ended up where I am now. And now I do more neuroimaging, where instead of just looking at tissue, I look at the whole brain and look at how it's wired up and compare it between species. So, yeah.